What the hell is Saw Sports or whatever that last call was talking about? What the hell is that?
What is up, Sauce Nation? It is your boy Hector Flores coming at you with an Astros video here on Saw Sports TV. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, Saw Sports TV is the channel where you'll see all the other Houston sports teams not named the Houston Texans. So the Astros, the Dynamo, the Rockets. Hopefully there's going to be some Rockets content coming your way. But this is the channel for all the other Houston teams. So if you guys want that content and you guys want to hear more about those teams, make sure you subscribe to Saw Sports TV. And also, don't forget to like and comment on this video so you can also be featured for comment of the day. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with this ALCS preview. But before we can talk about the ALCS, we have to recap the ALDS. So let's go ahead and get that going. So the Astros end up winning the ALDS. Obviously, since they're moving to the ALCS, you should already know that. But they beat the Rays 3-2. It went all the way to 5 games, which honestly didn't shock me. I kind of saw it coming, and it's going to go back to reiterating the things I mentioned when I talked about the Tampa Bay Rays, which was they are first in team ERA. They happen to be playing in a ballpark that the Astros have recent statistics to show that they do not perform well in that ballpark. And I think some people just blew off that information because they're like, oh, it's the postseason, it's the Houston Astros, they're the best team in baseball. Look, I know that, and I know that that's what the Astros are capable. And I also knew that they were going to be able to handle business here at home. And yes, the Verlander game was very disappointing, but, you know, honestly, you take a big risk when you only have 3 days of rest as a starting pitcher. And I'm sure there's going to be that person that's like, well, they're a starting pitcher, shouldn't they be able to perform? Look, 3 days of rest, especially after the way he pitched in game 1, that's asking for a lot for him, especially with 3 days rest. He just, his velocity was there. It's just his control wasn't there. His command was just not there for him. But hey, Garrett Cole, Game 5, handled his business. Obviously, he's the MVP for this series if you want to talk MVPs. But we won't talk about MVPs until way further down the road. Now, my takeaways from this series was the Rays did well. Rays did exactly what I thought they were going to do. They pitched very well, kept themselves in the games majority of the time. You know, even at Game 5, they were still in it until, you know, obviously they gave up the 2 home runs to Michael Brantley and Jose Altuve near the end. But the Rays played like they did, and I mean, you know, hopefully if the Tampa Bay Rays keep doing what they're doing, and you're going to see them in a lot more postseasons in the future. Like I said, man, this went exactly how I thought it was going to go. I don't like saying where I think this series is going to go to, because then you guys are just going to go into the comments telling me, oh, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But I knew this was going to be a series, and usually when I say this is going to be a series, it usually means that it's going to take more than just 3 games to finish it, and or a sweep. A sweep is probably highly unlikely to happen. That's the key word. If you ever hear me say this is going to be a series, usually means there's no sweep in this one. But just so you guys get that. But, you know, now the series is over. Astros are now going into their 3rd straight ALCS, and they're going to be taking on the matchup that everybody's been wanting to see. I think more of the people want to see this matchup than whoever's going to be in the World Series. And, you know, Dodgers are out, so nobody knows who's going to be that prize fight now for the World Series title. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and talk about the New York Yankees, so you guys are a little bit informed of what exactly this team is capable of. So we'll go into that one. So the New York Yankees finished the season with a 103-59 record. Honestly, man, with what was going on with the Yankees, with the injuries that they were going through, and still managed to have an 103-59 record, able to win their division, especially with the way the Tampa Bay Rays were playing, it's very commendable, man. You got to give a lot of props to the New York Yankees. They did a very good job this year. I mean, they had 943 runs. They have only allowed 739, giving them a run differential of 204, which honestly looks like a team that would be contending for the postseason. And let's talk about their bread and butter, which is their batting. Obviously, with the runs that they have, which they are first in. So obviously that 943 runs is AL leading in runs. They're also top 5 in 9 hitting categories. So like I said, this is a pretty good hitting team. Also, as far as pitching goes, they are first in the AL in saves. So that means they're very well in closing games out. And they are top 5 in 5 pitching categories. So their pitching isn't something to overlook. They have a really decent bullpen, and shows as they've been really good at closing these games out. Now, the team ERA for the New York Yankees is 4.31. So not necessarily as you know, it's a lot higher compared to the Tampa Bay Rays, who had the best team ERA. So this isn't me saying, oh, their pitching's bad. Obviously, to have 103 wins, you have to have some good pitching as well. But I think most of it is because of the fact that they're able to hit the ball very well. Now, obviously, we're talking about the Astros versus the Yankees. And this season, the Astros went 4-3 against the New York Yankees, sweeping them here in Minute Maid Park and going 1-3 in New York. So this is going to be the matchup. This is the matchup that everybody from MLB Network, all the baseball analytic people have been saying that this is the matchup everybody wants to see. And, you know, honestly, this is kind of what I wanted to. I wanted the Yankees. So I can't wait for this matchup. And this is a rematch of the 2017 ALCS. So, you know, why wouldn't I want this matchup? But let me go ahead and give y'all the keys to win this series. All right, so the keys to win this series, there's only 3 that I'm going to actually mention. I'm just going to keep it with threes. I'm going to stick with just 3 keys to win, just because I'm trying to make these videos not as long as it needs to be. All right, so first key, what happened in the ALDS stays in the ALDS. Now, this isn't obviously, I'm not pertaining to the guys that performed well in the ALDS. I'm talking about the guys that had poor outings, which is obviously George Springer, Michael Brantley, Zach Greinke. Anyone that had Josh Reddick, anybody that had problems in that series, they needed to push that to the side and go into the Yankees with a fresh start. It's a brand new series. That's pretty much the mentality they have to go into, especially Zach Greinke, since he will be starting game 1. So he really needs to not only get that out of his head, which I'm pretty sure he will. And for people that are giving a lot of crap to Zach Greinke for the way he answers the press, the guy has anxiety issues. So he just doesn't like to talk. That's just his personality. That's one of the reasons why he was actually really okay with being with the Astros, because he isn't the face of the team. He gets to just be a pitcher and just live his life like that. So, you know, and Houston, you gotta show love to Greinke. You gotta give him support. Gotta give him hope. The team's gonna be all behind him in game 1. So should y'all. So number 2, do what you did to get here. That means play discipline and efficient hitting and obviously solid pitching. That's your bread and butter. Go ahead and just go back to playing your game. I feel that the Astros in the ALDS just were swinging at really questionable pitches. They really need to go back to what they do best, and that is just being very well disciplined at the plate. And that is one of the reasons why they were so well this year, was because they were the least struck out team in the AL. So they need to get back to that. So do what got you here. I'm not talking about the ALDS. I'm talking about what got you into the postseason, what made you the 107 team. So that's my second key. The third key is you got home field advantage. Use it. Everyone's been talking about how this is the matchup. This is the series that everybody wants to see. You gotta play well at home. And it's kind of similar to 2017. Astros had home field advantage, and that's what it went down to, the fact that the Astros did have home field advantage because they weren't able to win a single game in New York. Now, could they win one in New York? Garrett Cole is pitching game 3, which will be the first game in New York. So there is a lot to be confident in that game 3. But New York in the postseason is a very difficult place to play. Now, people are already going to say, well, didn't the Red Sox beat the Yankees in New York? Look, like I said, it's a hard place to play. You can win there, but that doesn't guarantee you're going to... Like I said, man, anything can happen in the postseason. But if you look at the history, the Yankees have been really good at home when it comes to the postseason. So, but like I said, you got the home field. If it has to go to that game 6 and game 7, that home field advantage has to come into play. Now, like I said, you got Zach Greinke and Verlander pitching game 1 and game 2, and then you got game 3 with Garrett Cole. You really got to take advantage of that game 3. That game 3 could be a big decider for this series, in my honest opinion. But like I said, man, these are my big keys to win this series. I think if the Astros are able to do this, they can definitely make this series a more relieving one, I guess, to some of the Astros fans who give up so easily for some odd reason in the postseason. And but yeah, so that's my keys to this series. And now we're gonna go ahead and conclude this video. So this whole season has been Astros versus Yankees, and it seems very fitting that this is the game for the ALCS. That's always been the discussion. It's been the Astros and Yankees. So honestly, man, and I'm not trying to be cocky or anything, but just kind of similar how I said to last year, whoever wins this series is going to be the World Series champions, in my opinion. Now, that doesn't mean that, Washington Nationals or St. Louis Cardinals can make an argument for it. But, I mean, the NL has, in my opinion, are not as strong as these two AL giants. Now, this is going to be a series. I'm going to reiterate that. It's going to be a series. So, if the Astros lose a game, don't freak out and start giving up on this team. Like, oh man, we choked. I can't believe we did this. We choked. Don't do that stuff. Just take it game by game, because this is gonna be a series. This is the two best teams in baseball facing off to decide who's going to the World Series. So this is going to be a battle. It's the best hitting team versus a solid pitching staff with power hitters as well. Now, when you go into between the check boxes, hitting wise, honestly, man, it can go either way with the Yankees and Astros. But especially pitching, and I think the pitching is definitely going to be the battle. It's going to be the Astros definitely have the starters, but I do think the Yankees do have the bullpen. But I think if the Astros can go in and rock their starting pitchers and try to get these bullpen guys to come in and try to maintain whatever amount that they have to try to protect, and especially with the Astros starting pitching to be able to shut down the batters that the Yankees have. And so this is going to be the matchup. This is the matchup that everybody wants to see, and I can't wait for it, man. So with all that being said, man, I can't wait for this series. I can't wait to just experience this one. This is a prize fight, man. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that these two teams happen to be in the same league, this could honestly be one of the best World Series ever. But it's not. We're in the same division. We're in the same league. So we're gonna have to see who we face off from the NL to see who's going to the World Series. But obviously, we can't look at the World Series because you guys gotta focus on the ALCS first. So that's all I got, man. I'm going to chunk up a deuce. Y'all stay saucy, but get ready for comment of the day. All right, so the comment of the day goes to Eric Richard, who said, drop the sub. Not bad analyst for a guy with only 272 subs, man. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we definitely need to get this sub count going. But as of looking right now, Sauce Sports TV currently has 282 subs. Now, there is two Sauce channels. There is Sauce Sports, which covers only the Houston Texans, and Sauce Sports TV. This is where you will get the Astros, the Dynamo, the Rockets, anything college level, or anything that's in the Houston area. Houston area. This is where you will get your content from Sauce Sports TV. So please, if you know somebody that wants content on any of the teams that I listed, make sure they subscribe to Sauce Sports TV as well. If you want to be featured for comment of the day, go into the comment section and put out a comment. It could be a question, it could be just something that a compliment, anything, as long as it's on this one. So obviously the next Astros video I will make, this is where I will end up pulling up the comment from. So if you guys want to be featured for comment of the day, just comment down here. Now, that's all I got for this video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to Sauce Sports TV, as we're trying to get up to where Sauce Sports is, which is our I guess, no, I wouldn't say I guess it is the primary channel, since that's where most of our content is being pushed into. But like you guys see me right here. I'm trying to push out as much content as I can here on Sauce Sports TV because I'm trying to help this grow. And like I said, man, I'm officially my channel that I have. I'm officially no longer using it. I am now all in with Sauce Sports TV. This is where, if anything that I push, any comment or any content that I put out for, it's gonna be for this channel and this channel only. I am officially Sauce Sports TV. No more my channel. I'm still gonna use my channel, but mainly just to comment with y'all. But anything else, I'm not making any more content there. So that's all I got, man. Chucking up a deuce. Y'all stay saucy.